We have here a lottery ticket. Now, you might recall that over time I've been talking about these scratch-off lotteries for a long time. The problem is, I never win. Never win. If I ever won on just a single scratch-off lottery, it'd be the most unexpected thing that ever happened. As a matter of fact, it'd be so unexpected, I really didn't know what to do. I probably wouldn't even cash the thing or something. It'd be just, I'd save it for a souvenir. Never expect to win. Well, in our gospel tonight, Jesus uses the unexpected, and in this case, an enormous catch of fish to teach all of us an important lesson. He tells St. Peter, and he tells us, leave the past behind. I have important work for you to do. Leave the past behind. I have important work for you to do. Now, we remember the story that we just heard. Peter and his partners had been out fishing all night long and caught nothing. And then, in the morning, Jesus uses Peter's boat to go out a little ways from the shore and teach the people. And when he's through, he tells Peter, now, go out a ways and toss out the nets. See what you catch. Well, since most fishing, all fishing, was done at night, not in the daytime, if they caught anything, it'd be totally unexpected. But what happens? They caught more fish than they could possibly handle. And Peter is just totally amazed. Matter of fact, he becomes fearful, doesn't he, about this unexpected catch of fish. Because it was clearly a miracle, and he knew it. And he was so afraid, he says to Christ, he says, depart from me, Lord. I'm a sinful man. Well, fortunately, Jesus didn't take Peter's advice because it was to sinners that he came in the first place. If Jesus turned away every sinner that came to him, he would have been awful lonely. There'd be nobody around. Instead of that, he looked to the broken, to the sinners, to really the ordinary people, because he knew he could change their lives. And just like Peter, he would never be the same. He left what he was doing and followed Christ. Now, what Jesus offered Peter was a new start. A new start, and that's what he offered everybody that came to him. A new start. Notice that Jesus didn't seem to call too many people who were thought to be religious at the time. Instead, who did he call? Well, he called the sick, the broken, most of all, just plain ordinary people. Because again, he knew how he could change their lives. And just like Peter, they would never be the same after meeting Christ. And the whole Gospels are really a story of people meeting Christ and making a choice. Meeting Christ, making a choice. but they're trusting him or not. And then it comes down to the choice for each one of us here tonight. Christ puts the choice before us. What is your choice? What is our choice tonight? Remember, Christ called ordinary people. Peter wasn't any great sinner. He just was someone ordinary. And he was totally shocked that God would work a miracle in his fishing boat. That's why he was afraid. But again, he did answer that call, didn't he? He left that fishing boat and followed Christ. And his life would never be the same. He made the choice when he had the chance. And that's the choice Christ gives to each one of us. Well, maybe an example will help. Short time ago, Joan began helping in a children's religious ed program. Children's religious ed. And she said, 6 months ago, if you ever told me I'd be teaching religious education to kids, I would have laughed at you. For 8 years, I never even went inside a church. And she also admitted that she had made some poor choices in her life. They included drug abuse. But now, this was different. She brings her kids to church each Sunday. She teaches that religious ed class. Somehow, Christ was calling Joan to come closer to him. Come closer. Do more. I have work for you to do. And that's the call that Christ gives to each one of us. Question is, how do we answer that? Now, in just a few days, we're going to begin the season of Lent. And Lent is a special time that we should be listening to the Lord. What might the Lord be calling us to do? How does the Lord want us, each one of us, to come closer? I have work for you to do. Now, Christ God isn't concerned about what we might have failed to do last Lent. But the important thing is, what are we going to try and do this Lent? We have to ask ourselves, what should I do? And how am I going to do it? So remembering that, just so we don't put it off now, just so it doesn't kind of slip out of our sight here, we better stop right now. Just stop for a minute and ask ourselves, now, Lent's coming. What should I really be trying to do, and how am I going to do that? Let's take a minute. Not always an easy question, is it, What should I do, and how am I going to do it? But above all, we'd want to put off finding the answer. So as we go on now and prepare to share in the body and the blood of Christ, let's ask our God for the help and the strength each one of us needs to listen to the Lord and then do what the Lord is calling us to do.